Hey, this is Adam Ellis and I'm here in New York City with Curiosity, just to give you guys a little insight of my recent studio move and just how it affected me and what I've done to help the change. Been in America for the last week, played at Soundbar, in Chicago last week, and then on Saturday in New York City I played for Scala. Both really good crowds. I love the American crowds, very enthusiastic, and you know your trance music, which is always a bonus. So yeah, can't wait to be back, and thanks for the amazing shows. Okay, so as some of you guys might know, I've recently moved houses, which means I had to move my studio because my house was in my studio. So myself and Curiosity thought it would be a good idea to talk to you guys about it, just about the challenges that occur, and just some other general little bits and bobs about the move. So yeah, I recently moved from a studio apartment to a house. I was living on my own, and I've just moved in with 3 friends, and it's been quite challenging just to actually move the studio itself because I've got so much equipment, and just get used to, instead of producing in a house or a studio of my own, moving and having to take other people into consideration, and it's just taking on the challenge. Moving the equipment itself was an absolute nightmare because I got so much stuff, and where I lived before, lived down some horrible steps. So just the move itself was quite challenging, but I had to take into consideration neighbours and things like that, and thankfully everything's gone well, and the move's gone well, everything's set up nicely, and so far thankfully no complaints from the neighbours, so we'll see how it goes, but yeah, it's looking good. Alright, so one of the main issues that I was very concerned with when moving studios was just the whole change in acoustics of the room. You get to know your room, and I was living there for about 8 months in my old flat, so I knew the room, and things were going really well lately with music, and moving house, it was quite a concern that I was going to move into a new room and a new studio, and it could really affect things. And it has been a change. It's been quite hard to get used to everything. The room's a little bit smaller, so it's been tricky to get used to how everything sounds in the room. A method I've been using to kind of combat this change was just listening over and over to songs that I really know well, and just getting used to how they sound in the room. And then I've been trying to implement that into my own productions, and just trying to get used to the changing sound. I've taken some cautionary measures to try and help with sound, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Just some bass traps and building some walls out of rock wool and things like that. But yeah, it's been a challenge to actually to get used to this new room, and hopefully I'll get used to it, and I can continue putting out the quality that I have been the last year or so, and hopefully I can move forward with my sound and improve and use it to my advantage. Alright, so as most people will know, there's quite a few things you can do just to help your room. The easiest one is just acoustic panels, and they're just little foam panels that you put on your wall, and you just place them in certain situations. Well, it's not certain situations. You place them in certain areas of your wall, and you're just trying to basically combat the frequencies that come out of speakers, and you're trying to basically kill as much unwanted frequencies as possible. So I've placed these around my room in the places where they should be to try and catch as many of the high-end frequencies as possible. And one of the main effective things to do would be to use bass traps to kind of trap the low-end bass and try and clean up the room. So my way around that was buying a load of rock wool. I got some advice off a really good friend, and he's really good with stuff like that, and he gave me the advice on which was the best kind of material to use. So out of that I built some bass traps which I put behind the speakers and on the back wall, and that's just really helped tighten up the low end of the room. And I also put a lot of time into building an acoustic wall, which you'll see some pictures of in a minute. Basically what it is I just bought a lot of acoustic panels off eBay, and then what I did was I got a load of material, and I basically used a glue gun and just made them a lot prettier with some really nice material, and then I put that onto a big piece of MDF, and I hung it on my wall. And obviously the main thing is to make the sound of the room better, but it's also made the room into a really nice working environment. And it might be surprising to some people, but for myself anyway, having a really nice environment can kind of help the creative flow. So yeah, all in all, the move's gone really well. I'm still getting used to the room, but I'm taking it in my stride, and yeah, keep trying to bring the music that I've been in the last year or so. So yeah, thank you very much, Curiosity, for your time.